TikTok, ancient pyramids and cities found underwater outside of Cuba. Check this out.
Lost city found beneath Cuban waters. But what they uncovered using their advanced sonar equipment was far more mysterious.
When they used the sonar on the seabed, what they found was not sunken gold. They found incredible architectural monuments down there. What they saw on these side-scan sonar readings were pyramid-like buildings, long roads, all kinds of clearly megalithic stone architecture. There were sphinxes down there, that there were bizarre inscriptions on the stones. She had submersible footage of a pyramid down there that has kind of a change in its slope angle as it goes halfway up, similar to the bent pyramid of Dashur in Egypt.
Strangely, after they released their findings, the news outlets and networks went dark. What might they have stumbled upon?
Everyone who visits Disney World will tell you that they could feel the magic in the air, and that it may have been the happiest place on Earth. But how exactly did Disney construct a park that feels magical? While it may not be as sinister or as dark as most of my videos, I would like to take a look at how Disney has turned their guests into rats in a maze, and how they have designed their parks to psychologically trick their guests into going wherever they want, feeling whatever they want them to feel, and doing exactly what the big mouse wants them to do. Some of the subtle psychological tricks they used include pumping artificial smells through crowded areas that were developed to make guests calm and happy, designing all of their pathways to be dark to draw in the Florida sun, pushing guests inside of shops and restaurants. Disney also conducted tests to find the most off-putting colors and used them to keep guests away from restricted areas by painting them with what they call go-away green. Finally, they built the parks with a strategic linear design that makes the parks feel like they never end, almost as if they never wanted their guests to leave.
Where is the Garden of Eden? Lately, I've been kind of obsessing about where the location of the garden might be. So I started to do a little bit of searching. Now, according to Genesis 3:24, the garden still exists. So after Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, he placed at the east of the garden cherubims with the flaming sword. Cherubims are basically high-ranking angels. And the flaming sword was turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. According to the Bible, the Garden of Eden is the most beautiful place on earth that exists. Genesis 2:9-10, and out of the garden made the Lord to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now pay attention to this. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. This is a 15th century Mercator map showing land in the North Pole. Here's another ancient map from the 16th century showing land in the North Pole. Now these are the modern maps showing no land in the North Pole. Like and follow for part 2.
Why is no one talking about the fact that it is Passover and we need to cross the Red Sea? Like, quite literally, we need to get to the Red Sea. We need to go through the Red Sea. If only there was a group of people who had done that before, who used to live in Egypt, and then were kicked out.
If there really is a pandemic, then why don't we hear the constant wail of ambulance sirens throughout the day and night? Number 2, if there really is a pandemic, then why are all the undertakers saying that business is either normal or less than usual? Number 3, if there really is a pandemic, then why don't we see endless queues of people at cemeteries and crematoriums burying their loved ones? Number 4, if there really is a pandemic, then why are all the statistics saying that the death rate was within normal parameters last year? Number 5, if there really is a pandemic, then why have all the normal influenza deaths almost disappeared? Number 6, if the first lockdown worked, then why are we doing it again? Number 7, if the lockdowns didn't work, then why are we doing the same thing again? Expecting a
TikTok, check out this telescope NASA's working on. It's like a time machine. It can see 13 billion years into the past. Let's take a listen to it.
Say hello to the most incredible and complex space observatory in history, the James Webb Space Telescope. With 100 times the observational power of the Hubble Space Telescope, Webb can peer more than 13 billion years back in time.
What?
Due for launch this Halloween, Webb promises to help solve some of the greatest mysteries in the universe.
Please check out the full video link down below. Follow and like.
The legend of Antarctica's Mystery Mountain. It was the early 1900s when a team of expeditioners flew to Antarctica to test new drilling equipment. There was a professor on board with previous experience, a couple scientists, and drill experts. Their goal was to test this new technology. They were going to drill and take samples. As they flew into their destination, one of the expeditionists noticed something. Guys, look. They all look over and they see a large cavern in the mountain. He takes note of it and they continue to camp. They drill for a couple days and notice odd triangle shapes showing up in their core samples. They looked like imprints, but they weren't sure. They just wrote it off as an anomaly within the ice. So after a couple days of drilling, the scientist that spotted the large cavern in the mountain decided he wanted to take a couple team members to investigate. Much to the professor's discontent, they take off. But as they're flying in, the plane crashes. Everybody survives and they make camp. That night, they go to investigate the structure and find something odd. There were 8 creatures frozen in the ice with triangle-shaped feet and bones scattered about.
They've been at this disclosure business for many, many, many years. This one's from July the 7th, 2010, in China.
A UFO in China's skies forced Zhoushan Airport to stop operations on July 7th. Outbound flights were grounded after the unidentified flying object was detected by a flight crew. The incident has captured the attention of Chinese media. For now, the UFO continues to be a mystery. A spokesman from China's Civil Aviation Administration confirmed to ABC News that the matter is under investigation.
Legend of Antarctica's Mystery Mountain 2. The creatures were large, 8 to 9 feet tall, and very odd looking. They had large tentacles and triangle-shaped feet. The entire time, they're telling the professor over the radio back at camp their findings. He's amazed. The men go on to tell him that 2 or 3 of the frozen ice capsules were broken, and the creatures inside as well. They figure the bones and animal fragments were due to them eating them, probably before the Ice Age. They continue to describe the beast as having a star-shaped head and teeth throughout it. Man, these are probably some vicious creatures. This is crazy, one of them said. And just as he does, he hears a ringing in his ear. What is that? Do you guys hear that? Yes, I do, the other 2 said. What is that? Professor, what is this ringing we hear? What is going on? I don't know, guys, but I get the hell out of there. Then one of them yells, "Oh my God, run!" Guys, what is going on? Answer me. The mic cuts off. 3.
I'm about to blow your mind. Part 5. So, some of these CERN researchers decided to store some of the dark matter at a university, and the effects that it had on some of those students were insane. Students were losing their minds. They were essentially going crazy. Some of them were hallucinating, some were seeing demons, suicidal thoughts, depression, anger, you name it. So they discovered that this dark matter, when near humans, actually affects them. And it's because we all have dark matter inside. Adam and Eve were beings of light until they ate the forbidden fruit. That is when the darkness came in. Researchers have found that the darkness within us is actually connected to the darkness on the outside of the veil surrounding the earth. So scientifically, when we sin and fall into darkness, we embrace the dark matter. And when we walk towards Jesus, we are sealed by the light of the Holy Spirit. God literally says, "Let there be light" in our lives.
This just in, Bill Gates is now the top farmland owner in America. 242,000 acres of it. Nobody knows why he's doing it, but we do know he wants to block the sun. How does that work?
The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots.
And shortly after the speech at the UN, Donald Trump delivered, what do you think happened? The coronavirus was unleashed on the world, and Trump's booming U.S. economy went on life support. Do you think that was an accident?